Frank. What's the weirdest thing you've ever saw in here?
Let me ask you a question, kid. Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
Hey, we gonna party tonight or what?
Yeah, we are gonna party.
Well, where are we gonna party?
I don't know, somewhere.
Hey, we could go to the park.
Oh, no, we can't. The cops said they'd shoot us if we go back to the park.
Yeah, and I ain't in no mood to go tonight.
I like death.
Greetings, ghouls, and welcome to minute 68 of Do You Want to Party? The Movies by Minute podcast for the 1985 groundbreaking horror classic, Return of the Living Dead. I'm your host, Troy, and this week I'm being joined by my future hot patootie co-star.
Daniel's here.
Hello, Daniel there. How you doing, sir?
I'm not bad.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so let's get right into this and all that. So the minute is going to start with Bert asserting his plan and ends with leaving Tina to her destiny. So within the walls of the embalming room, the most furthest room, the back of the resurrection funeral parlor, the yellow-tiled walls are the place for our tableau to play out. The time is 2:25 a.m., and on the floor is laid out the moving body of Freddy, who, propped up slightly by his girlfriend Tina's lap, her arms holding him in a comforting grip. Freddy's boss, Bert, stands upright from his former crouched position as he blurts out the remaining details of his plans for both Freddy and his co-worker, Bert's other employee, Frank.
Figure out how to get the hell out of here, all right?
An equally gray-skinned man whose body also mimics Freddy's shaking demeanor. He's sitting upright, his hands clutched to his chest, a gray blanket enshrouding him. Once Bert stands, the other young man, Spider, friend of Tina and Freddy, states in his crouched position as he calmly puts forward to Tina his thoughts about Bert's suggestion.
Tina, that really is a good idea.
Tina mumbles a non-committal response as Bert looks to his longtime friend and worker at the funeral parlor, Ernie, who himself has found a perch upon the armrest of the brown leather sofa that Tina is using as a backrest. Bert requests Ernie's input as to where to store Frank and Freddy.
Where can we put him, Ernie?
And after a quick internal analysis, Ernie stutters out a response.
The chapel.
Still wielding his trusty lead pipe, Bert requests Ernie's assistance with relocating Frank.
All right, help me with Frank, please.
Spider stands and steps towards Freddy and Tina, to then crouch back down to roll Freddy off of Tina's lap, which incites Freddy to cry out in yelps of pain. Equally, as Bert links his arms under Frank's arms from behind, and Ernie lifting both Frank's legs, Frank's deep moans of pain reflecting the displeasure of his predicament. As Freddy is getting prepped for transport, Tina quickly grabs Freddy's jacket and Spider gives an assist to put it on him. Through the hallways of the funeral home, headed towards the chapel, Frank and Freddy, screaming in pain. From their wild wrigglings, the people moving them find difficulty in walking straight, but they still move with urgency. Pausing briefly, Ernie, leading the yelling Frank, has to tighten his one-arm grip on Frank's legs as he struggles with opening the double doors and slapping at the light switch inside. Once inside, they slow down their pace considerably, making their way down to the short aisle between the pews.
Lay him on the carpet, gently.
As per Ernie's suggestion, they both begin to lay the two men on the ground at the base of the prie-dieu. As the sickly men are laid out on the red carpet, a concerned Bert checks with Frank's well-doing.
Can you hear me?
Oh, boy, he's gone.
In the background, Tina continues to cry as Freddy calls her name hoarsely. She responds as she takes up her prior position of holding him. completely fed up with the situation, Spider announces that what the next step should be.
Look, let's just leave him and get out.
In protest, Tina cries out her decision.
I'm not leaving Freddie.
Bert relays that the immediate plan and what it entails for her and the two men.
We gotta lock the door, you know that.
She pauses, looking down at her boyfriend, and recites her response.
I'm staying.
Noting her conviction, Bert agrees with her decision and stands up to collect Ernie and Spider.
Okay. Come on.
And that's where we end our minute. So we finally have a little bit of movement going on. We're getting down to the end of the current situation of a couple of our characters, as we know how this story plays out.
Good action in this one. Good makeup.
Exactly. The great makeup. I mean, the makeup has basically, we're about to hit the antithesis of this makeup. This is as gray and as god awful as these gentlemen are going to look. We get a couple of extras put in a little later and all that sort of thing, but as their current state, this is as bad as they get. I mean, they start to go downhill after a little bit, but exactly. One of the things that I like to note is that when we are in, I didn't mention it in the previous minute, but I'll mention it here because I didn't mention it in the previous minute. When we get the shot in the embalming room where we could see everybody in the one shot, because it's just one complete locked off shot, we actually see a green tarp that has been laid over the end of the embalming table where the half corpse is. You can still see the half corpse there. She's not moving and all that sort of thing, but we no longer have the ability to see underneath the table and all that because there's this mysterious green tarp that has been placed on the bottom half of the table and all that sort of thing, just, I guess, obscuring whatever we don't really need to see and all that sort of thing, which doesn't make much sense because without the actual puppet moving, you don't need any sort of puppeteering going on underneath it and all that sort of thing. But just something that wasn't there before is now there in this particular shot.
The puppeteering wires may have been there or something like that.
Exactly. But again, it's just weird to all of a sudden out of the blue, this green tarp suddenly there. That, like, where'd this green tarp come from?
That's true.
Yeah. So yeah. But again, yeah, we're noting that the time is still passing. We're well into, basically we're 2 hours and 25 minutes into July the 4th and all that sort of thing. The movie started at 5:05 the previous day, so these few hours have been quite trying, and it's been less than 12 hours. So it's kind of a neat way to mark how much time has progressed by an actual continuing to move clock, as so far it has not gone in reverse, which is kind of nice to see. So again, another advantage of shooting a movie in pretty much sequence and all that sort of thing. Yeah, good old Frank with his shaking arms and all that stuff. He really likes to play up those arms. He definitely, yeah. All right, so
Tina always bugged me when I would watch this, just how I won't leave him, and you're like, it's so obvious you're dead. You know, like it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things that always bug me about zombie movies when somebody's like, I want to stay with them. It's like,
exactly. Well,
does it seem like the right choice?
That is true. It is definitely something that happens. Someone believes that they can
it's become
stick around.
Quite the trope, to stay.
Yeah.
I would say she started it in zombie movies.
I would have to say that she is the example of, what the lovers wanting to stay together no matter what sort of thing. That is definitely the trope. Lovers, no matter what happens, to stay together. That is for sure. All right, so over on the commentary track, which is with the writer and director Dan O'Bannon and the production designer William Stout. And once they begin to transport Frank and Freddie from the embalming room, Dan O'Bannon points out that at what James Cameron is doing is in a hospital what you have to do to get morphine. He mentions he knew a long-term pain patient that he knows of hospital staff that aren't going to administer it unless you're tearing the sheets apart. William Stout points out that how they are being brought into the wee chapel of the dawn, And then Dan O'Bannon mentions that this is the point that he wanted them to go overboard with the pain and agony. He then states that they would pop an Alka-Seltzer tablets into the mouth so they would foam and all that sort of good stuff, which obviously does not happen in this particular minute. It happens in a future minute and all that sort of thing. But it's, again, this is the sequence that Dan O'Bannon wants to do. And then the subject of Clue and his lead pipe is brought up by Dan O'Bannon, and how it was about this time in the filming that Clue would occasionally punch him out between takes. But more on that in an upcoming minute. So yeah, so there's throughout the history of the making of this movie and all that, apparently at points Clue Gallagher and Dan O'Bannon came to blows occasionally. Again, we only have Dan's part of this. I believe there's a documentary about More Brains. It's called More Brains: The Return of the Living Dead, where Clue Gallagher is like new interviews in like I think 2010, prior to his passing and all that sort of thing, mentioned that he did have a little bit of a back and forth with Dan O'Bannon and all that sort of thing. So I don't know how truthful this sort of thing is, but Dan O'Bannon seems to be apparently quite beaten up a little bit. But like I said, we'll get into that in a future minute with the commentary track because it becomes part of the commentary track. All right, so according to the script, which is what we are using, and again, it is a story and screenplay by Dan O'Bannon. We are dealing with a revision from October of 1983, and this is based on the story and screenplay by John Russo, Rudy Rickey, and Russell Steiner. So like I had mentioned in the previous minute, this part of the script is wildly different from the final version of the film. So I'm just going to read the appropriate sequence from the script, and then I'll explain after, because pretty much the script goes a little wonky and all that sort of thing. All right, so we go with interior and bombing room, night, rain picks up again. So in the script version, we actually have Ernie, Bert, Meat, Scuzz, and Tina. They are looking at Freddie and Frank in the embalming room. So at this point, we still have Scuzz in the storyline, as in the script, as in the final version. We have just recently lost Scuzz. So let's jump to the sequence. Bert. Yeah, that's right. But in the meantime, they're much worse danger than I am. And anyways, I'm not proposing to do anything to them. For Christ's sake. Let's just lock them up in the other room for a while until we can figure out how to help. And if I start acting funny, lock me up with them. Meat. Hey, listen, he's got a point. To Ernie. Is there some room where we can put them and lock them up? Ernie. Yeah, all right, the chapel. They all go to get around Frank and Freddie. Ernie continued. We're going to have to carry them. Here, give me a hand. They all pick up the two paralyzed men, who start screaming. Frank and Freddie. No! Oh my God! It hurts! It hurts! Unwavered, they hustle them out of the room and down the hallway. Interior, chapel, night, rain. The chapel is not a sparse building. It is a room in the mortuary. Ernie flicks on a light. They, Bert, Meat, Scuzz, and Tina, carry Frank and Freddie in. Ernie. Just lay them down on the carpet there. Frank and Freddie are still screaming. Tina. Oh, Freddie! Oh, Freddie! Scuzz. That's it. Just leave them here. Let's get out. Tina. I'm not leaving Freddie. Bert. Then you stay here with him, but we're locking the door. Tina defiantly. I'm staying. Bert. Do what you want. Now, in the script version, as you can hear, I mentioned the name of Meat, which technically this version of the script, Meat, turns out to be Spider. And if I ever read through the script and I mention the name Dee Dee, we are talking about Trash. But as you can clearly hear, that Scuzz is still in this sequence, because as of this point in the script, we then have the half corpse and her sequence in the storage room for the caskets break through that window, and that's where we have the encounter where Scuzz gets killed, and then they drag the half corpse back into the embalming room and tie her down and all that sort of thing. So The sequences are a little out of order and all that sort of thing, but from this point on, we catch up back with the movie. So, in the script version, we actually haven't had the what we just finished talking about in the previous mini, which is Chuck and Casey's little sequence by themselves in the actual warehouse. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting to see how they decided to alter it. Now, obviously, as we can see, there is no scuzz in these sequences and all that sort of thing. So I guess it must have been either a rewrite of the sequence as they did it, and they decided, okay, let's have scuzz get killed first, and then we deal with moving the bodies and all that sort of thing. But again, the script is just a different order and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of interesting to see that. All right, so we now deal with the work print comparison, which is where when you finish filming a whole entire movie and you bring it all together, you assemble everything, and then you have this long version of the movie that you then edit down to get to your final movie. Now, whereas this particular minute we are dealing with 67 to 68, the actual work print comparison is minute 79:35 to 80:35. So this is one of the rare examples of one-to-one sequences. There is no extra, there's no different footage or anything like that. It's pretty much the only difference is it because there's no music involved with the sequence as well. It's basically just the raw audio that you hear in the final version is what you get in this work print and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of interesting just to see it play out, and it's a one-to-one shot for like second on the second and all that sort of thing. So there's unfortunately nothing really extra to say about this particular work print comparison sequence.
Yeah.
So that's basically all that we really have about this particular minute. Anything you want to add to it, Dan? Because
the minute itself, no,
yes.
the clock was pretty consistent, which is nice for a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do like it on a bigger screen when you watch it because you can get a lot more detail out of it.
You totally
In fact,
do.
right
Yes,
now,
yeah.
I'm just really looking at it again on a computer screen as opposed to a phone screen, and it's like I forgot all about the little dog on the wall when you're going into the when they're running into the oh man, the rectory or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that picture. Things, just little things.
Yeah, no, it's exactly, but it's also a movie that, again, when you're watching this as a 91-minute movie that flies right through, you don't see all those details. But when
Oh,
you
heck no.
stop and watch one particular minute at a time over and over and
Especially
over
when you're
again.
repeating the rewatch.
Yep,
And
exactly,
rewatch.
exactly. Yeah,
Because I'm
yeah.
looking for things that, could be even things I'd missed before.
Yeah,
Because I'd never really noticed so much it's one of those semi-famous pictures of like a dog in a human clothes kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to pick
exactly,
up on it.
exactly.
I never really
Gotcha.
noticed before that it was a dog.
Yeah.
It's a great scene of the makeup when Frank looks right at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pausing on it.
When he's laying down there and he goes like almost catatonic there for a second, right? It is gorgeously done.
It's like moist makeup too, so he's got like very sweaty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, everyone is. I mean, another great thing about this movie is obviously we're filming in a studio. This particular sequence is all done inside like a soundstage and all that. So, well, not technically a soundstage, a warehouse that they've turned into a soundstage and all that sort of thing. But again, it's all interior shots, but everyone is still sweaty all the time. I mean, especially at that very final shot of Frank as he's like in front of Tina and all that sort of thing. You could see that whole entire sheen of sweat pouring down Clu Gallagher's face and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, the close up of James Karen right there and all that sort of thing. You can see that his face is glossy in sweat with that pale gray makeup and the hollowed out eyes and all that sort of thing. So yeah.
The next time I'm going to try my own makeup when I go on a zombie fix, and I'm going to see if I can pull off that look. I like it.
It is quite a simple one as long as you get your mixing of the colors and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
But it's a very pale.
Mm-hmm.
almost white. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this particular minute, which is actually, I mean,
Mhm.
a bit of a reprieve from last week's almost hour-long episode, which I'm thrilled to hear a bunch of reactions back from it and all that sort of thing. So I want to thank John for once again for joining me for that particular minute. I did just finish off a conversation with Alan Trotman, so it looks like I'm going to be having Tarman back for an actual co-host and all that sort of thing, and I'm still trying to work out
Oh, that's
getting
so awesome.
I'm trying to work out getting the timing with Tom Matthews to come back, and I'm still trying to we're doing basically a bit of phone tag, well, not phone tag, but email tag between myself and Miguel Nunez to come on for an upcoming minute. So hopefully that I can get over the next couple of days straightened out and all that sort of thing. But again, looking forward to those future minutes coming up. But again, thank you, Dan, for joining me for this
Yeah.
particular minute. Thank you, audience, for joining me for this journey. We're at, like I said, we're at 68. We're on the last like 20-ish minutes left of this movie and all that sort of thing. But again, 20 weeks is still a long bit of a time to go. But it's always nice to see people still joining in and all that sort of thing. What I'd really like to ask is I just like to give a little test out there too. If anyone is actually still listening to this particular part, leave a comment on whatever platform you are listening to this on. I just want to check in to see who is actually really out there and it's just not automatic like downloads or something like that, which again,
Yeah.
I have no problem with automatic downloads. They count as well. Or if you could just drop a review or 5 stars or wherever you are that you can, that'd be really great to see and hear the reaction from for this particular minute. So, like I said, just give a shout in the comments of wherever you are, and I'll be able to track it down and hopefully get to it for the next episode, if not that for the next episode after. But, anyways, again, I just thank you to
Yeah.
the audience and all that. So, again, thank you, Dan. Thank you, audience. I've got nothing else to say, but see you next Wednesday.
You've just been listening to a Planet Geek production of Do You Want to Party? A Movies by Minute podcast of the 1985 The Return of the Living Dead. Please be sure to subscribe, download, comment, share, rate, and review. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, or Letterboxd. Search for Planet Geek Productions. X, former Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, search for Planet Geek Pod. Or send us an email to planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Our closing music is provided by Night Chill. See the show notes for more details. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and farewell, fiends.
Have you ever? I've been trying to find it, but it's only on Plex. The zombie repellent. It's a zombie comedy.
Zombie
Zomcom.
Repellent. No, I don't think I've heard of that one.
No, I've been trying to find a few of them because there are a whole bunch of new viewing methods online. You may have
Okay.
seen clips like Plex where they have their own little movies made. Some of them
Oh,
are
I see
done.
what you're saying.
Some of them are done like literally like little 5-minute clips, and it's an entire like 4-hour movie, 5 minutes at a time.
And it's called
This
Zombie
one's called
Repellent?
Zombie
Oh, I see.
Repellent.
I see. Zombie Repellent. I see it. It just came up there. Zombie Repellent. Where is this from? This is, well, look at that. It's got a 4.7 out of 10.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's great.
2025. No, looks like that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally like
Who is it
young
from?
couple
Where is
comes into
it?
a small town and
Gotcha.
they have to like
It
navigate
looks,
through the dark secrets of the
is it
town.
Australian or British? It looks either Australian or British. It's New Zealand. It's from New Zealand. Ah, New Zealand.
New
Oh
Zealand does
God,
awesome stuff,
they do some great horror films. Yeah.
but
Okay, I'm
Asia
gonna
big time has gone into these little micro TV things.
Yeah, there's a lot of horror coming out of Asia recently around the zombie apocalypse sort of sequence and all that sort of thing, which is kind
Well,
of
yeah,
I mean,
another one's called Ziam, which is
Siam.
yeah, Ziam.
Okay.
I should be able to watch that one soon because of Netflix, or not Netflix,
Uh,
but the other one. No, Netflix. That's a Netflix one. In fact, I may have watched that one.
okay, here it is here. I just seen it. Oh, it's on Tubi. So Zombie Repellent is on Tubi.
Is it?
Yeah, I just opened up the IMDb and it lists that you can streaming on Fasun, Plex, and Tubi. Now
Possibly, because
that could be Tubi in the US, so I'm not sure. I don't know how well spread out Tubi is, like if it's separated
it's
by.
a very new one. Ziam, I
Yeah.
think, is one I've actually told you about, if I remember right.
It sounds familiar. It sounds familiar. And Candace is ready whenever us two are. So you want to stop this and we can get into the movies?
Certainly.
Okay, we'll do that. Let me stop this and then I'll start a new feed in a second. All right. See you in a second there, Dan.